Hi, we are
Crazy Family Adventure. I'm Craig.
I'm Karen.
I'm Brianna. I'm Carson.
I'm Malia. And I'm Knox.
And we have been traveling full-time on the road for how long, Malia?
Over 6 years.
Would you guys recommend for other families, parents out there with kids watching, that they should take their kids on either an RV adventure or travel full-time in their RV?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would? You'd recommend it?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, well, we're going to let the kids run off. We've got neighbors parked next to us with kids, so they're going to run off to play with them. And then Craig and I will stick around, and we'll share with you guys tons more information on this whole crazy RV lifestyle. All right, so now the kids are settled. They're all playing, so we are going to jump in to share some more about us. So just over 6 years ago, it was actually May 2014 that we launched.
I came home one day after Brianna spending the day with her sister, and all of a sudden we were gonna sell our house and move full-time into an RV. It's like, whoa, how did that happen?
You didn't know that was gonna happen when I became a stay-at-home mom with 4 little kids. So.
Yes.
But no, we were living the American dream. We had built the house we thought we were going to be in for the next 30 years. And then we just kind of started to feel trapped. Like, we had so much stuff. And we had this beautiful house where we had this mortgage. Craig only got a couple weeks of vacation a year. And we just wanted to do more. So what other option but RV travel, which was perfect. It meant we could have a home on wheels, so still give our kids that stability, yet get out and travel a lot, bring our dogs with us, and really just explore this beautiful country that we live in.
Yeah, and we also had the intention of homeschooling our kids from day one.
Yeah, they've always been homeschooled.
We weren't tied to a school structure, or I was in the tech field, so I had some options as far as working remotely. So we had some options as far as not being tied to a location.
Yeah, so that definitely played into it. But looking back now, I still can't believe we actually made the leap. So if you're thinking about doing this and you're scared, that's normal.
Totally normal.
Totally normal. It's totally okay. But what comes on the other side of fear is usually some really amazing things. So we are glad we did it and we made the leap. So we really just love the fact that in an RV, you have your home on wheels. So for the kids, like people, what about stability for the kids? Well, they have their own bed, they can decorate their own space. We have our kitchen, we have our living room, we have our room. Like, it is a very homey feel to it. So when you're on the road, we have days that we just hang out inside here, and it just feels like you're hanging out inside like a tiny house, like a small house.
Yeah, so no matter where we are, you come back inside and it's just like you've never left. So
yeah, so we love, but
it's a
yet
very stable feeling.
it is, and yet we love that our backyard changes. We also love just the options it gives you when you're out exploring. So you can stay in Yellowstone National Park for way cheaper than you could stay at Yellowstone Hotel. And you're also like out in nature. So when you're there, like you open your door and you're like in Yellowstone, like it's amazing. Plus we love boondocking, which what boondocking means is you drive up into some open field like called BLM land, and you just park your rig and you stay there. It's just this wide open space, like no one's there, and it's just you, your beautiful rig though. So we have a kitchen and bathrooms and showers and all of that. Yeah, we're just in the middle of nowhere in this just gorgeous places. So we love the fact that it gives you that capability. Plus, if you don't like a place you're at, guess what? You hook up and you leave and you move on to the next place.
Go find somewhere else. Yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing that's really cool about RVing is that the journey is part of the trip. I mean, it's like you drive across country and you see a lot more than you would if you flew from point A to point B. So we found some of the really coolest places that, you know, we would have never stopped at. Just because we are RVing. Like, we had some more time to do it, we had to stop or whatever it was, and we found some really neat places. So the other thing that's really cool about it is the RV community itself. We've met some amazing families and friends that you stay with them for literally like a day or two and you become lifelong friends. It's really cool. And like, they're so helpful because a lot of things go wrong when you're on the road. That's just a given, like it happens. And usually people are there to help and get it figured out and get you fixed up and back on the road. So community's awesome,
Yes.
Even for the kids too, especially for the kids. They love it because they're meeting new kids all over the country.
Yeah, and the RV campgrounds are definitely more like the old school neighborhoods. You know, back in like the 80s when we would just run around the neighborhood barefoot and you'd be, you know, get out in the morning, run out the door, and you wouldn't come back till night. That's what campgrounds are like. And we love that idea that our kids are getting like this type of a childhood, because in neighborhoods, like, we don't see that quite as much. So it's awesome that in campgrounds you get to have that experience. Even if you're just going out for a weekend or just going for a week, Like you go and stay in a campground, I can almost guarantee there will be other kids there and your kids will just be out playing and just enjoying themselves. And that means that then you can maybe have happy hour around the campfire with their parents and meet some new people as well. And everyone's outside, which always to us, especially with everything going on right now, has been important. We're outside, so it's fresh air. You can easily social distance. You don't have to invite people into your RV. You can enjoy it right outside around the campfire. You can also take days where you just go out with just your family and explore. So lots of great things about RVing. So obviously if you can't tell, we love it. We're still doing it 6 years later, so there must be something about it, right?
Yeah, right.
So if you're considering this lifestyle, or if you're just considering buying an RV to use it as a way to travel, go for it. We promise it will be an amazing adventure. It'll have its ups and downs,
Yep.
but it will be an amazing adventure.
Welcome back, everyone, to week 8 of the Ultimate RV Show National Tour. I'm Ian Baker, joined today by Nellie, and this is one of my favorite parts of the show. It's one of my favorite parts of the week, kind of winding down the day, but we get to talk to people, much like yourself, Nellie, that are out there living the lifestyle, really just kind of living the dream and what RVing is all about.
You know, I love the RV community just for this reason. We're a tight-knit bunch, and we help each other, we share knowledge with each other, and it's so fun. So I'm excited to be doing this today.
Yeah, absolutely. So joining us today, we have Crazy Family Adventure, who has been living out on the road for nearly 7 years. Craig, Brianna, welcome, guys.
I think that's a world record, you guys.
Thank you. No, there's others that have been out way longer than us, but no, we're excited to be here. Looking forward to chatting with you guys.
We're
awesome.
I don't know about you guys. Now we're in Kansas currently, and it's a little chilly. Where are you guys at? You finding warmer weather?
No, we are in Texas, way down south in Texas, and they haven't had it this cold in like 100 some years or something.
Oh my goodness. Is there any part in the States that's warm?
What was that, Craig?
Sorry.
I was going to say we're as far south as you can get in Texas. Like we're just across the border of Mexico, and it's like turtles are freezing. They're just washing up on the shore.
Oh
It's
no.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So
That's
to answer your
crazy.
question, Nellie, I don't think there is.
Nope.
I think it's cold everywhere right now.
You're right. Oh my goodness.
Well, Craig, Brianna, tell me, guys, how I mean, you've been out there, been living on the road for 6, going on 7 years. How'd you guys get your start?
Yeah, we always get that question asked, and there definitely for us was not like a big aha moment that was like, oh, we need to go do this now, because it really was kind of just seeing other people out there living this life. And at the time, there wasn't that many, but there were people out there doing it. And like Craig was working the 9-to-5 job. We had built like the American dream, had a big house we built, 4 kids, 2 dogs, the picket fence, the whole deal. And it was kind of just at a point where like, we want to do more. We want to travel more. We want to see more. We knew we were going to homeschool our kids. So we saw people out there doing this, and we were just like, you know what? Why not? Let's do that. Let's go for it and see what this lifestyle is all about. And if we don't like it, we can always come back to live a normal, life again. So that was basically what it was. And I can't believe now it's been 7 years ago. We went into it thinking we didn't have a stop date. We were like, oh, we'll do it for 6 months. We'll do it for a year. We kind of went all in, sold everything. We're like, we're just going to do this. But I don't know if I would say that we thought we'd still be doing it 7 years later. But here we are.
You like it that much. Now, how old is your oldest kid?
He is 13 now. So we have a 13-year-old, 11-year-old twins, and then an 8-year-old. So they were 6, 4, 4, and 2 when we started.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So you had all 4 kids when you guys started the full-time RVing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That is. Now for the first RV, I mean, I know you guys, you get out there, we've seen some of the renovations. They're absolutely gorgeous. When you got into your first RV, was it something that you renovated right away? Were you just kind of, just kind of jumping into it, just being like, nope, this is the floor plan we want and it's good? Or did you kind of custom tailor it to what worked for you and your family?
We actually had to renovate it because back then there was no RVs that were set up for 4 kids. So everything we looked at, we could not find a model that would have like 4 beds for the kids to have. And we at that time wanted a Class A. We did not want a fifth wheel or travel trailer. So there were no Class A's out there that had that set up. So we actually bought a Newmar diesel pusher, a 39-foot one with just a bedroom in the back. And we took out the back closet and the back like TV area, and we had 4 bunks back there with our bed back there. So we slept back there with 2 big dogs, 4 kids, and us all back in the one room.
Holy moly.
But
We do just fine in these negative temperatures. Like, it was like a little hot box back there. It was great.
Wow.
it was. But it worked out. It worked out really well, and we really enjoyed it. Like, we co-slept with our kids and everything, so they were always in our bed anyway. So
Aw.
it worked out really well. But then when we did that, it was kind of like, well, yeah, this is gonna be our house. So of course we want to like paint the walls, and we wanted to like, you know, have things in it that just functionally worked better for us. So we knew right out of the gate, it was like, we're doing this. And of course we, you know, go buy this rig. At the time, it was like $75,000. And Craig's like, we're going to do what to it? And I'm like,
Make
yes,
it
we are
home.
doing this. We're living in it. We're making it like home. So yeah, so it's always, so some of the renovations were out of necessity, and some of them have been just because we want to do it and want to have it feel more like home.
That is amazing. So you guys went from a Class A, so that was your first vehicle, and now you guys are living in a Keystone High Country, Montana. Why the change from a Class A to a pull trailer?
Kind of a long
Yeah,
story.
it's kind of an evolution from the diesel pusher. We wanted to get smaller. It was a 39-foot, and we were towing a car behind us. So, like, logistically, even getting gas was kind of like, it got old. So we wanted to be more flexible in our travel, get to some places that allowed smaller rigs, like national parks, stuff like that. And we also wanted to go do Mexico, which we felt in a big diesel pusher was probably not the smartest thing with the tighter roads down there and stuff. So after that, we went to a 23-foot Class C.
Oh my
which
goodness.
Was, yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
Like, I don't know why we did it.
You guys went smaller?
Like, it was cool. Yeah, it was cool though. Like, we were able to fit into a parking spot, like at the grocery store and everything. So it was very flexible and super easy to drive, but space-wise, it got a little too tight.
Well, it got a little too tight, but then we went from that to a 21-foot trailer. So we didn't go bigger after that.
You
We
guys
went
are
smaller
killing me.
again. But
We spent a lot of time outside. Like,
We did.
We'd wake up and we'd be out the door.
But we took that trailer down to Baja, Mexico with the 12-passenger van, and it was probably our most comfortable setup in the way that for driving, it wasn't stressful. For getting gas, it wasn't stressful. Like, we could get around and go anywhere. We took that thing off-roading, like did a ton of things with it. But with that one, again, from a necessity standpoint, we did do some modifications inside just to make things work for us, like setting cabinets up right or adding drawers or baskets or doing different things like that. But then we did realize that one got a little tight. So then we went to a 30-foot trailer, and that was okay. But we kind of made some bad choices on what we got, and the setup just wasn't quite right. So now we're in this fifth wheel, and it feels like a mansion to us. We're like, whoa!
I feel like I can breathe for them. I was
Yeah,
getting a little
yes.
anxiety as you told me it got smaller and smaller.
Yeah, when we start getting down to 21 foot with a family of 6, oof.
And 2 dogs.
And 2 dogs. Yes.
Family of 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
We really like each other. It's okay. We love each other.
There you go.
I love
There
my
you go.
kids too, but what do you think, Ian? I feel like I would need my space.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you would find what would happen is you'd wake up in the morning and you would find me outside,
tent or something.
sitting in a chair with the coffee, shaking a little.
Yep. That's what we would do. There was a lot of outside living. Or like the whole point was we found when we were in the diesel pusher, we spent so much time like just inside, like just hanging out. And it's like, wait, this isn't why we did this. So when we got smaller and smaller, it was like in the morning, it was like, go outside, everyone outside. So luckily when we were in that 21-foot trailer, like we spent 8 months and it rained like 2 days out of that 8 months. So we were just outside like
That's nice.
the whole time and had a good outdoor set. But we even went to a full-time family rally, and like all of the kids were over by our rig because we had the most toys. And we had people be like, how do you have the most toys and you have the smallest space? Because we just like open our bay and just like Legos and toys would just like fall out of it. We're like, yeah, everyone spends time outside. It's all good. So it was good.
That's great. And now you guys are in a fifth wheel. I believe you have a high country, correct? So tell me what was it about that floor plan, about that brand? Like what kind of drew you guys to that one, especially coming from, it sounds like you guys have run kind of the whole gamut here. What was it about that one that just kind of made you guys say, yep, this is our next RV?
So at this point, we were kind of like, okay, we're done roughing it in these small rigs. Like we want to have some more of the luxuries and some of the nicer things. So for that reason, we knew we wanted like a big residential fridge. We wanted a bedroom like area for the kids. We wanted each of the kids to have their own space, so their own bed area. We also knew that we wanted a bedroom for us that was a little bit separated from the kids, because now our kids are older, and we felt like that was nice for both sides, like a good thing. And then we also really wanted like a big like living room kitchen area. Yeah. We do tend to just all hang out together in here, and then the kids will have friends over and they'll be playing, and we just knew we wanted a bigger area here. So, and then the other thing that was really important to us is we wanted to make sure that the rig was 36 feet. Ideally, we would have even gone smaller, 34 feet or less, but we didn't want like a big 40-foot fifth wheel. We still wanted to be able to get into a lot of RV parks or national parks and just make it easier for traveling. So that was another reason. And then another thing was that from a cargo capacity standpoint, when you're living in this thing full time, like we know now our stuff easily weighs 3,500 pounds, if not more. Wow. So we knew from a cargo capacity standpoint that we wanted something that was going to be able to handle all of our stuff. So this one kind of checked all those boxes.
It did. Yeah, it absolutely did. And we knew that the Montana line was just high quality. Like it has a great reputation. So we loved it, from a quality perspective. And the other thing that we were really drawn to when we came in was the light cabinetry and like the lighter look of it. We felt like that was so different, and it really appealed to us. So we kind of fell in love with it right off the bat coming into it, and it checked all those other boxes too. So
now I saw that in your renovation pictures that you guys renovated everything, but you left the cabinets, which a lot of people don't do that. But you're right, it's because it's those lighter cabinets, the more modern look. Yep. And it looks great. You guys did a great job. Now with that, I know you guys renovated. What are some of the bigger changes you guys made in your trailer?
Yeah, luckily we didn't have to do too many big changes in here, which was nice because the cabinets, and we've attempted to paint cabinets in the past, and it's never gone well. So we were really excited that these ones were just nice and we didn't have to touch them. So the major things we did is we took out the couch and the dinette right away. Kind of like you get in these rigs and there was like a couch for like 2 people, and we're like, we're a family of 6. So like that's not really going to work. So we knew right away that that was out, and we wanted like a futon type of couch. So when the kids have sleepovers and things like that, there's a space, for them to sleep. And then it also meant for the table area, we wanted to take that out and make that smaller, just because we really don't sit around the table to like eat dinner together or anything. If we're going to do that, we'll go outside on the picnic table or do something like that. So we didn't really need that same table space. Right. So that was a big thing. We kind of redid that whole area. We took the trim off of the slide out. I should rephrase that. I did not do that. Right? Took the trim off around the slide out, and he replaced that with wood. And actually, when we did post on social media about doing this conversation with you guys, people asked, how do you do that? I want to know how hard that was or how easy that was. And really, it wasn't hard at all. Like,
no, not at all.
Yeah.
And I've never done it like in an RV before, so I wasn't quite sure how difficult it would be. And I thought they'd used a lot of glue, so I didn't know if things would come apart like messy and like I'd have to really, clean stuff up. But it was no problem. Like it was very easy to take off and replace, and I think it turned out really nice, and it was a pretty easy job to do. So.
Yeah, the wood feel to it definitely added to it. But other than that, we put like a desk back in our room. So we took that dresser out and replaced it with 2 other dressers and put a desk back there. And then we just painted and wallpapered, and now we've added like, random baskets and little things like that here and there. And in the kids' room, did a little bit of the same type of stuff, but really nothing major, just more surface type of things, just because the setup was so good to start with.
Now I got to ask you guys, when we talk to some people and they talk about renovations and renovating an RV, how much experience would you say you have to have, or how handy do you have to be to do some of these renovations? I mean, I know you guys said, you replaced some furniture, did a little bit of painting. It sounds like replacing the slide fascia may have been, a little more in depth. Is it something you feel that most people can kind of take on, or should you kind of go into it with a pretty good idea of what you're doing?
I would say anybody can do it. Like I do think tackling some of those bigger projects, maybe you have to have a little experience or at least the tools to do it. We were luckily at my parents' house, and my dad had everything, so I was able to knock it all out without having to like borrow stuff or anything like that. But as far as painting goes, I think anyone can really do it. It's tedious and not super fun, but anyone could really do that. I don't know. What do you think? Like,
I agree. And I think like removing the couch, people are like, well, can we take our couch out? And it's like, yeah, you can take your couch out. You take a couple screws apart and it breaks apart fine and you can get it out. So I think some of that stuff that people are worried, like our couch won't go out the door. Well, no, you'll figure it out. Or we've known people that have had to take a window out of their RV to get their couch out. But then they're like, oh, it really wasn't even that hard to take the window out. So it wasn't a big deal.
Now I know how to take a window out.
Yeah. There you go. But so I would say, yes, I think anyone can do at least these things like the painting and the wallpaper and replacing a couch or finding a different dinette. The things you want to be conscious of are the weight. You don't want to be adding a lot of extra weight to your rig. So you do want to think twice about that. You can't just go buy any couch you want. Like you've got to check the weight and know what that's at. And then for the painting and wallpapering, like our wallpaper sometimes stays up, sometimes it kind of falls down. So you're going to have to like be doing some, repairs on that and whatever. But it's also, if you don't like the wallpaper you put up, you take it down and you put up something different. Or if you paint it and you don't like the color, you just paint a new color on it. So I really think anyone can do it that wants to do it, but it's definitely nerve-wracking.
It is, but it also is one of those things like you just got to get over to it. Like, don't be afraid. If you want to make it look, you have a vision, like just make it happen and you can figure it out.
Yeah, and Craig was really nice about this one because he was kind of like throughout the whole thing was like, I don't know. And then in the end, he's like, oh, it really came together well. And like,
a lot of things going on. Like,
You got to trust the ladies.
Looks and feel. Yes.
Exactly. I'm like, you think I didn't know what I was doing? Like I was like putting things together. He's like, yeah, I wasn't sure, but I love it. I'm like,
Five
okay,
five trailers later. I think she might know what she's doing.
You might know a thing or two. Yeah, that's funny. I have the same thing with my wife. Like, she'll start doing some decorating, and I just don't have the vision, right? And I'm kind of like Craig when he started talking about renovations, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know. That sounds a little pricey. We sure we want to do that? And then after it's all said and done, it all comes together. I'm like, well, that's beautiful.
You guys don't have to worry about anything.
Exactly.
Now I have a question for you guys. Did your kids have any say in the renovation, or was it the parents' choice, or how'd you guys go about that?
Yeah, we always try, even from our first rig when the kids were really little, like we wanted them involved in it. So we asked them like what color they wanted their bunk bed area painted. Okay. So we always give them at least the area that they're going to be sleeping in, that they can design that like how they want. So they can pick their curtains, they pick their wall color, they pick their bedding and, all of that. And then in the back room here, it's actually like a gaming setup. So we did the whole theme was like gaming and like, playing, I don't know, all different remotes and things like that. So yeah, they're definitely always involved in that. When it came to like the living room setup and the kitchen and that, I kind of just took that and was like, nope, we're putting the cheetah print in because I want it. But in your bedroom, we can do what you want. So that's how we always do it.
But the kitchen area, that's mom's area. She gets to do what she wants. Yes. And the kitchen area and the living area are pretty much together. So basically, she gets a say in all of it.
Correct.
Yep, I agree.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I love that the kids, that they got a say in their space. We talk about, like you say, full-time living on the road. It makes it feel like home. It is home, and they get their say in their space, and it just feels nice and comfortable. And I absolutely love that. Quick question for you guys. Just kind of talking a little bit further, and we're talking about some of the renovations. How about budget-wise? I mean, do you guys go in with a budget? Have you, because you've renovated 5 RVs now, have you blown the budget out of the water? Have you come pretty close? Like, how's the budgeting concerns with the renovations?
Wait, what's a budget? I'm not familiar with that term.
Perfect.
Yes, we are not budgeters. We are, let's do what we want, and then we'll figure out how to make the money and pay for it.
I love that.
So no, we have never set a budget for it. I mean, that being said, like we also weren't going to go buy like $1,000 couch. Like we just weren't going to do that. Like that's just not what we do anyways. We've always kind of been the ones that have like IKEA furniture, and stuff like that. So from that reason, I think just the way we've always been, we were never going to spend like a ton of money on it. But we also didn't set a budget because we wanted to do it right. And we wanted to get the things that we wanted. There's been times in the past where I'm like, oh, I really would like that, but it's too expensive. And then after the fact, I buy it anyways because the cheaper thing I got just didn't work out. So we definitely tried to make choices around like good quality things that weren't heavy and had the like look and feel that we wanted. It's like I bought like an ottoman for like in the living room area that was like $200. And that was like not normal for us to like do. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm getting this. I want it. I really like it.
That's awesome. Well, you think in a normal home, you have so much more you have to buy. So to spend a little bit more money on lesser things, for, a smaller space like a trailer,
Yeah.
totally worth it.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is when we took out the couches that came in the RV, I actually sold them on Facebook Marketplace. So
Oh.
we did make a little bit of money on the furniture that we were getting rid of. So
Nice.
it kind of helped.
Yeah.
It wasn't a trade-off, but it helped.
Where there's a will,
Definitely.
there's a way.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome. We kind of found the same thing when we renovated ours. So thank you for sharing this knowledge. I think a lot of people, when they first get into RVing, they get a little nervous. They don't think they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot easier than you think. And there's experts just like you guys that can help share that information. So this has been awesome. I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, me too. That's fantastic. When you guys are doing your renovations, looking back, right? Is there anything that you would have changed or a different way to maybe do some of the renovations? If you could have done it differently, I guess, is there something you would have done?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think the only thing, again, like we said, we've been through this quite a few times, so we kind of knew this time, like, what to do and what not to do. But the one thing that we did is, I wasn't too smart about, the wallpaper I picked for, behind the stove, because it, all melted, and it was like, oh, that probably wasn't the right choice of wallpaper for back there. So there's some things like that I think we would have done differently, but other than that, I don't think so.
No, not really. But I also think as we live in this, we see other opportunities that we can either redo that we didn't think quite through enough when we first started. So there's a couple of those things, like little storage ideas or, better way to organize things. And we're always improving and changing things anyway. So
Yeah, that's a great point. So we set a timeline for ourselves to get everything done within 3 weeks because we wanted to get back on the road and be out there and be exploring. We did not want to spend a lot of time on it.
Okay.
So I do like the idea that we set that tight timeline and we got done what we could get done in that timeline. And then from then on, we've done little things here and there as we've been back on the road. But the major things like the trim slide out and getting the couches and things like that, we tried to do all of that right up front, get all the major things done, and then just be able to add those little things as we're going. And as you're learning the space, every time you get into a new RV, you have to figure out what's working. Okay, wait, that cabinet would be really a lot better if it was organized with different shelves or set up this way or that way. So we knew all of that kind of would come as we were in it. And I would say we did buy a couch that broke in the first month that we had it.
Oh, no.
So, but
believe it or not, they like to wrestle, and the couch was the loser in that match. So,
so some of that type of stuff. But I feel like that no matter how much you try, that stuff may just happen. So overall, I would say we were pretty happy with everything we did. And I don't think there's a lot that we would change or do different.
I love that. It sounds like it's been a smooth process. It seems like you guys have got it down.
Have there been any big hiccups?
Yeah, I want to hear these things.
Let's hear the horror stories. What went wrong?
let's see.
Not a lot,
That's
luckily.
Like-
Besides the backsplash.
Yeah, so one of the
Yeah, besides
Yeah,
it, which it's still up and still melted on the wall. So
It's
I'll get to
fine.
it at
I'm
some
sure it
point.
looks great.
it's a nice texture. So but we have to be careful, like when we bring the slide outs in and out, we have to be conscious of it because the trim that I put around the slide out's a little bit bigger.
Oh.
So
Okay.
one time it actually got caught on the ladder we left out a little bit. It pulled the board right off the wall, so I had to put that back on, with duct tape and whatever. But little things like that, you just kind of got to pay attention to.
Yeah, well, and when we started too, the trim we got, we thought we wanted pine.
No, we wanted cedar.
Okay.
We wanted
like
cedar.
that
Yep.
kind of rustic, look to it.
So we went and bought all the wood, and we're all ready to go with it, and brought it back, and he stained one of it, and we looked at it, we're like, no, that's not what we were thinking. So we had to return all that wood and buy the new wood and do all of that. But nothing major. Well, the major stuff happened in our other rig when we tried to paint the cabinets, and that just did not work, and that was a huge mess to try to do it. So again, we knew this time, just don't do that.
So I guess I'm going on that note then, because a lot of people, like you said, you got all of that wood and then you had to return it all. If you could get advice for some first timers, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to buy one piece, and maybe buy 3 different kinds of wood that you like, and maybe a couple different color stains, and really kind of mess around with it and test some different things out and see what you like. And my patience level does not allow for that. So I'm like, buy that, get that, let's go, let's do it. But looking back, I think it would have been very smart to do that. Same thing for like when you're doing paint, maybe buy a few different paints and try them out on the wall in a little section. Again, I'm just not patient enough to do that, but I think that is a good thing to do, especially for the wood when you have to like cut it and hang it and do all of that. Like it would make a lot of sense to get some different ones and test it out and see what's going to work.
Yep. Yeah, and I recommend getting like the highest quality paint you can. It's definitely worth the money. We didn't do like any kind of prep work on our surfaces. I kind of just wiped it down a little bit and just went for it. And it was like a paint primer combo thing.
Okay.
And it went on great. So it was worth the money.
And what did you have to do? 3 coats?
Well, I did 3 coats. We did a dark green in our living room kitchen area. And that took 3 coats just because it was like a darker color. So there's a lot of kind of see-through. Yeah. But it was good.
Yeah, it was worth spending the money on the higher quality paint to have it work the way it did.
1,000%. I can't tell you how many times I have repainted our Class A, our first one. We don't have it anymore. I had to memorize the paint color and the code number.
I keep those little swatches in our warranty booklet, just in case.
Yep, 1,000%.
Now, it sounds like a lot of the renovations you guys made have been, aesthetically. But have you done anything? I mean, we talk about having a little bit smaller RV, like the 21-foot travel trailer, 23-foot. What kind of, renovations did you guys do that are kind of unique to make the space work?
Yeah, and that one especially, we added a little cabinet or whatever, a little counter space underneath the one thing, so then we could pop that up and put that up there, so to kind of make the cabinet space a little bit bigger. And then normally a lot of it was just adding in little baskets that we would put on the wall in a certain spot, or tuck little things back in certain areas. But the whole having to take out full counters and replace them and do all of that, we've just never done it to that level, because we always felt like what we had was working, and we just knew that to do that was going to take a lot of time, and we did not want to give up travel time or family time to do that. So that's why we keep it just those easy, simple things that'll take maybe a day to do or to knock out. But we are in this rig now talking about taking the bathroom out in the back and remodeling that whole area, so it's more of a kids play area for their computers and everything. So that'll be a pretty major.
Wow.
Yeah, that's going to involve some indoor plumbing adjustments, so it should be fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. So it's they've added extra storage, but fashionably or kind of discreetly. I feel like that's what's going on right here, and I love it, because you can never have enough storage in a trailer.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I feel like that's something we're always searching for.
Well, yeah, Brianna,
that's we got the ottoman that you can put things in, and we got, instead of a bench for the dinette area, we got little small ottomans that open up so you can store things in them. So we definitely tried to find a lot of those areas. Under our couch is filled with little trays that we can pull out and put stuff in. So
perfect.
Lots of, and this thing, we got this little wood table thing made that we just had to have made on Etsy, and to fit the size perfectly. But it's finding all those little nooks and crannies where you can add things like that.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for just kind of walking us through and telling us what it's like to be out there for 6 years. It sounds like you guys have definitely had your hand in renovating quite a few RVs and a lot of success. And one of the greatest parts about doing this is you guys get to pick out an RV that we get to walk through. And coming up next, we have a Montana high country similar to yours, a little bit different layout. We'll check it out when we come back.
Sooner or later, everyone's bound to encounter someone in need. A fellow traveler who could use a helping hand. The question always is whether you stop to help or just move on.
Thanks for stopping.
Thanks, guys.
If you're one of the stopping kind, chances are it was passed down. Some good that you observed from early on.
Hey, Mom.
It's a way of thinking that our world goes beyond where our driveway ends, that we're all a part of this community, a good community. It's having your daily plans, yes, but with an eye open, an ear to the ground. More importantly, a willingness to change those plans when someone needs your help. call it going the extra mile or paying it forward. We just call it being good. Spend a lifetime doing good because the next generation is watching.